I just want to say, this movie made tiny homes on wheels look terrible. I watch HGTV. I've seen some dope ass, school buses. This sucked, man.
Well, my
She had
dude.
no toilet in there.
Well, my dude. I
Where's
really
your
don't.
compost bin?
I
You
don't
have to
think
have a
that.
compost bin. Like, come on.
I don't think that they were going for the HGTV aesthetic. Let's jump into our first segment here. We're going to talk about a movie that apparently you didn't care for necessarily. Uh,
I didn't
well,
say that.
well, I mean, one would say that your your incessant comments about how it was lame as fuck, would lead one to believe that you didn't necessarily care for the movie. That I'm talking about is Nomadland. After losing everything in the Great Recession, a woman embarks on a journey through the American West, living as a van dwelling modern day nomad. This is directed by Chloé Zhao, I believe. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And written by Jessica Brunder, who I believe she wrote the book, and then Chloe Zhao, and again I hope I'm pronouncing that right, wrote the
Just call her
screenplay for the
Chloe
film.
Z, man. Chloe Z.
No, that's even more disrespectful. If I'm gonna
No.
fail, then fail spectacularly, as they say. This stars, of course, Frances McDormand, Patricia Greer, Linda May, Angela Reyes. I don't know. And yeah, man, let's just jump into the shit, man. Usually we do our whole press play thing, but really we're just gonna kind of do a stream of conscious. How the fuck do we? What do we fucking think about this movie, man? I'll let you go first.
I mean, let me start out with the good,
Mhm.
and it's not a long list.
Jesus.
Frances McDormand, she did good. She was obviously the star of the movie. She portrayed that character real well. That was a good part. Apart from that, there was really nothing else. I mean, I guess maybe it was a good representation of what can happen when corporate America leaves a town that has nothing but it. In this story, obviously, Empire, Nevada is where I forgot what the company was called. U.S. Gypsum, I
Empire?
think.
Yeah, I think it's called
Yeah,
Empire, right?
Empire, Nevada, but it was the company U.S. Gypsum
Oh, sure.
uh, manufacturing plant. When they ended up leaving, everything basically shut down. There was nothing left there for the townspeople, and pretty much everybody left. The zip code was taken off. Like, hey, it doesn't even exist anymore. Um, there wasn't really much to this movie, man. Like, I was trying to when I started watching this, I'm like, man, like this is gonna be nice. This is one of those like indie flicks that I really enjoy, like a low budget indie flick, and it's gonna, go into some deep shit, and I'm gonna get the drama. None of that happened. I mean, I had like I understood the story, the grief, the leaving home just to end up being back at home, trying to find yourself. Like, I get it. But man, you spent $5 million on this movie. Like, this is it. Like, there was nothing to it. It wasn't a pretty movie. Like, you're out in the Midwest. This is where like America's supposed to be beautiful. Like, show me some nice scenery, man. Give me some like landscapes to like really focus. Like, use a nice 4K camera. I don't know what they used here, but it just looked like shit. And some of the behind the
Yeah.
scene, photos that I saw, I could tell this was a low budget movie done poorly. The
Jesus.
script wasn't great. Like, there was nothing. I don't know why it's cleaning up everywhere. Like, what was in the film circuit that this cleaned up? I don't know. Like, what was up against is like, if Minari was up against this, Minari should have won everything
Well,
compared
did you watch
to
Minari?
Nomadland. Yes, I did. It was
Oh,
actually fantastic.
well, give me that login so I can fucking watch it. Jesus Christ, I've been
I
hesitating
got
because
you.
it costs like $20 to rent that movie. You can't be.
It's $20, man.
Yeah. I
They're
don't look.
cleaning up these days.
Money does not grow on trees. Yeah, Jesus
When
Christ.
you're in when you're in New Jersey doing nothing, watch Minari for $20. I'm gonna zell you $20.
Hey, please
I
do,
got
please
you.
do. I need it. All right, thank you. Uh, I'm sorry. Did I rudely cut you off with my
With that
intro?
said, this
Mhm.
movie you can skip.
Jesus. All right. Um,
Yeah, skip it.
I'm not going to take that tact. What I can say about this movie, man, It was really interesting watching it. It actually brought back some memories, dude. Of uh, I've it's been a little rough at times in my own life, and there was a stretch of time, not a stretch of time, just a brief time where I didn't necessarily have a home, and so this brought back a lot of those sort of memories, um and so yeah, just like the whole idea of finding a place to park and wondering, am I going to be okay here, for the night, or is somebody going to boom 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 knock on the door, all those type of things kind of resonated with me. So I can definitely say that's where I can sort of like identify with the movie. Where I can say that the movie gets a little fuzzy though is that the idea of the movie, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the idea of the movie is that some people choose this life not because they're forced into it, but because they just want it, that they
Yeah,
that this is what they want, and so maybe don't look at them necessarily with pity, but maybe more so with understanding, that sometimes people are forced into this life of being basically like a nomad, somebody who just kind of goes from like one thing to the other, who doesn't really have like a central like home, instead of looking at them with pity, instead of looking at them like that, but looking at them with understanding of just like, okay, if this is the life that you at least in part want, then all the more power to you, because that's what we get a lot with Frances McDormand's character of Fern, how she just kind of is rolling through, and she just doesn't really want to chill in any one particular place. It's not that she doesn't even have the option, right? She has two spots, right? She has her sister spot, right, that she could just go chill at, and then she hooked up with this dude. Damn, what was his name?
Larry.
Yeah, was it Larry in the thing?
Yeah, I think it was Larry.
I'm skeptical. Was it? I don't remember it being Larry, but all right, if you say so.
Uh, it's a
Uh,
fairly good white old man name, so I'm going with
oh,
Larry.
yes. Thank you for the. I'm sure you're the advisory on good white guy names. Um.
Okay,
Uh.
maybe it was David.
Well, there you go. There you have it. So she could also go chill with David, because David also offered, she's this David, of course, is the dude she met along the way. And they kind of strike up I don't know, kind of a pseudo relationship, but not really, more of a friendship than a relationship, one would assume. But
She friend zoned him pretty good.
yeah, but I think they kind of were both just chilling. Like, I don't think it was really like too much of. I think like the vibe I got from him was that he just wanted to be like, or he wasn't really pushing it for anything too much more than like friendship. It wasn't like he was just like, "Hey, oh, I've known you for like a year now, and we haven't bumped and grind once. That's got to change." Like, it wasn't like he was on that tip. He was just like, yo, like, I fuck with you. You seem like cool peeps, But anyways,
No, he asked her to stay. He
yeah,
asked
he
her to
asked her to
stay at
stay, but again, I think she had
but he
her
said he
own room.
liked you. He talked about her to his family,
Yeah,
the
yeah, but you talk
the
about your
uh the
friends
girl
to
who was
other family,
prego.
don't you?
I mean, I talk about you, but that's about it.
All right,
And we
well,
do love you, man.
okay, let's stop
It's
this before it
family.
gets weird.
Yeah,
um no, but yeah, I don't know. The sense that I got was that not it wasn't necessarily that he was trying to court her necessarily, but that he just really fucking enjoyed her friendship. Is the sense I got. Maybe that might be right. Maybe that might be wrong. Don't know. But yeah, man, I think that that's kind of where this movie fell a little flat for me. Is that it's like after the first 40 minutes of the movie, you get that point that basically she's not a person who wants the uh comfort or the ease of having like a regular like not even necessarily even a regular 9 to 5, but just like a normal life period of just living in the same place, doing the same thing. You really get the sense that she was just never like that, and she is not going to be that way, and she just doesn't want it. But then we spend the rest of it's like a 2 hour movie, I think, and it like the rest of the time you really spend just rehashing that same point over and
Yeah.
over and over. And it's just like at some point you're just like, all right, I mean, I get it, and that's cool, like, do her, I hope she does whatever the fuck she wants to do. But it's kind of like, all right, what else you got for me? Like, and I think that
Yeah.
at least for me, that's where this movie felt at least a little bit flat. I love all of the nuance that they put into it, all those like little scenes that were just like, very specific to this story and very specific to the situation at hand. But in the same light, it's kind of like a regurgitate. Like, if they threw something else into the story, and I'm not saying that like, I don't want to bastardize whatever the original story was, but I don't know. It just felt like it could have been there could have been more added into it after like the first like 40 minutes of the movie. There could have been some other wrinkle thrown in there that would have thrown things off a little bit. But maybe that's what they were aiming for, was this really sort of quiet movie um, that kind of spoke to that message of the people living this life. But I don't think we needed. Let me check on a specific time
An
here.
hour and 15 minutes.
Well, and yeah, well, it was an hour and 47 altogether, and I would say that first 40 minutes you basically get the entire movie in that 40 minutes, outside of like minor storylines like her and Dave, and her and her sister. Outside of
Right.
those things, but those things don't really like add anything to.
Mm-mm.
They just
They were
reinforce.
just filler.
Well, I wouldn't even say they're filler, but they just reinforce the baseline of the story, which I guess any good subplot would, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't really feel like it adds any new level of understanding, other than, oh, she's just stubborn, or not stubborn, but this is the life that she wants, and nobody's really
Yeah.
going to move her out of that state. um I don't think we needed an
Yeah.
hour and 47 minutes to tell that story, but that's just me.
No, I fully agree with that. And the biggest issue that I had with it, just like you had said, was you got the movie within the first 30, 35, 40 minutes, from her first interaction with, the former friend that she had at the sporting goods store, to the gas station attendant, to Larry slash David. Like, you got the movie really quickly. You understood it, and then it took forever just to finish. And like, you really lost me at that point, because I'm waiting.
Yeah,
I am
dude.
waiting for something. It
Dude, a
what?
hilarious spot is like we got towards the end of the movie, and I was like, oh, this is where it ends, and then it didn't end,
Yeah,
and
no.
then it was like, oh, this is where it ends, and then it didn't end, and then
Nah.
it was like watching a fucking like Lord of the Rings, because I remember that feeling that and are you the weird one who hasn't watched Lord of the Rings yet?
So I watched the first one, and for the first hour and a half, nothing happens. You know,
Okay, I don't
and then
care
the
about your
last
lame.
30 minutes of the
I,
first Lord
I
of the Rings is
I don't care
okay.
about your lame takes about Lord of the Rings. The point I'm trying to get at is that not necessarily with the first film, but with the final film, I think the Return of the King. It's like it could have ended in 8 different places, but you're just like, oh, it ends here, and then it just doesn't end. And you're like, wait, why? Just end. That's how I felt about this ending. Was that like it like so they build this crescendo with the music, and it's all great. And you're like, oh man, this is really cool. And then it doesn't end. And you're like, wait, why? Why do you keep doing
Yeah.
this to me?
But
But yeah,
this was a book adaptation, right?
it was. I believe it was a book adaptation.
It's
Yeah.
almost like they took the book and just stretched out every single scene in that book the way the author wrote it. It
Either,
just took
well,
forever.
not even stretch it out, but just literally wrote it basically as like a duplicate of the
Yeah.
book.
And I, like,
Yeah.
as a book nerd, like, there's movies that I watch where I really wish that they would have included certain scenes from a book, or maybe expanded on some of the thoughts that a main character will have that you can't necessarily really put into actual text. They just didn't. This movie just, I understand she's a nomad, like, she is on her own, but it seemed as if they took this book and they just ran with whatever the book had in it, and didn't give it the little bit of the Hollywood touch. I don't know this to be fact. Obviously, I haven't really looked into it other than just literally watching a movie right before we started filming this. But it was so drawn out.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, this movie made tiny homes on wheels look terrible. I watch HGTV. I've seen some dope ass, you know, school buses. This sucked, man.
Well, my
She had
dude.
no toilet in there.
Well, my dude. I
Where's
really
your compost bin?
I
You
don't
have to
think
have a
that
compost bin. Like, come on.
I don't think that they were going for the HGTV aesthetic. I really don't think that they were going for was it the
They should have been.
glam camper, the glamper is maybe what they call it. I don't
Sure.
I don't think that's what they were going for with this. I think they were going for something a little more
Look, man,
authentic.
I need some shiplap on those walls. I need some bamboo trim.
I don't
Like,
even know
give
what the
me
fuck any of
something.
that means, but
Give me
I'll take your word
something.
that it's nice. But another thing I kind of wanted to point out, man, you mentioned it before, man. Frances McDormand, holy shit! If
Yeah,
honestly, if it wasn't for her, this movie would be simply unbearable. And I
yeah,
mean no offense to Chloe Zhao, but I don't think that's an indication of the movie. I think that's just an indication of just how fucking good she was in this movie. I think
yeah.
she was great because the character that she plays, Frances McDormand, is just really just like kind of just like she's super fucking unapologetic about who she is. And
She
she
just
never
straight up walks away at times. She
yeah,
doesn't even say
she
anything.
doesn't
They're
give
like
a
offering
fuck,
you help,
dude.
and she just walks away.
She doesn't care.
Fuck
She's like,
you.
whatever, dude. I'm just gonna do me. But she gives that a level of, and she never really changes that throughout the entire movie. It's just that's just her, you know. And it's not until you
Yeah,
get to her sister's place where you kind of um where they reinforce that for good of just like, oh no, like this isn't. She's not putting on an act. It wasn't like just like an emotional
hmm,
situation happened that caused her to be this way. She's just literally always been this way. Um, and if it weren't for her husband, then she probably wouldn't have settled down and stayed in one place. Who her husband passed away. But whatever. She did a fucking fantastic job, man. I think
yeah.
she did win a Golden Globe, unless I'm mistaken. Um, for this, I'm not sure if it wasn't deserved, dude. I think it was very much fucking deserved, man. She kicked ass in this role. Even if you're not a fan of the movie overall, you still got to give your props to her because she worked her ass off. And look, I tip my hat to anybody who can take a full on shit on screen, and then proceed with the rest of their
Yeah.
life because I could not
Yeah.
do that. That would
I,
not be something that I would do.
yeah. I 100% agree. She did fantastic. She did not win a Golden Globe. She was nominated,
Yeah,
and Best Director was actually Chloe Z. She won Best Director, which, like, I would have flip
crazy.
flopped that. Like, Frances McDormand deserved that win.
No, I feel like what you said at the beginning was just this is very much a Hollywood movie, right? Like
Yeah.
or like the type of award winning movie, right? Where it's quiet, it's led by a powerful performance, and it's something that can be interpreted or it's something that you can impress upon it kind of whatever you want to impress upon it, right? Like they don't really like they're not trying, or at least it seemed like they weren't trying terribly hard to push a specific narrative other than
Yeah.
maybe the overall overarching narrative of the film, which is that some people just choose a certain life, like they had these when a group of people start talking, about just like their different experiences, and some of them were basically just like telling stories of like, yeah, I know people who like died never having seen X or done Y, and so that's a narrative that they clearly tried to, that was plentiful throughout the entire movie. But I don't think that they had too many of those things where they're trying to like specifically say a certain thing, and I think that that's why a movie like this can clean up with in the festival circuits and awards because they're
Yeah.
they've got the scenery, they've got the mooding, but also it lets you impress upon it whatever you kind of want to impress upon it. It's not too specific in where it's trying to go. I guess much like Nomads. Hey,
Hey,
hey, we
brapa.
run a podcast here, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we do. Okay, we connect threads that other people can easily connect to. I don't.
Look,
We're not doing anything special.
final thought on this. Let me
Yeah, bring it home. Bring it
I
home.
thought this movie. I didn't read the plot. I didn't read the tagline. I didn't watch the trailer. I just went straight into it, just watching the movie. I don't know about you, but when they got to the desert with Bob, I thought he was gonna start handing out the Kool-Aid. It sounded like the Kool-Aid was about to be flowing, and this movie was gonna be just an hour and 10 minutes after
Holy
Bob got the
shit.
Kool-Aid
Yeah, yeah,
flowing.
yeah. Yeah. Once you saw that beard and then you're like, what he was saying, you were just like, oh no. Oh no.
Oh yeah,
This is where it
I've seen
happens.
one or two documentaries that end terribly that start just like this.
Are we in Waco? Is this Waco, Texas right now? Holy shit. Not to disrespect any of the lives lost in Waco, Texas, but
Yeah, right.
all right. Yeah. That was Nomadland. Let us know in the comments below what the fuck do you guys think of Nomadland. Liked it, hated it, indifferent. Think it should win all awards, no awards, some awards, this award, that award, everywhere award.
Apparently, it
Uh,
won all of them anyway.
yeah. Okay.